Hey everybody, Meteorologist Ryan Hoke here with a special Sunday night edition of the Hokey video blog. As we head into the month of January, we're talking about more winter-like weather than what we saw for December. In fact, looking at some of the data this evening, things are beginning to get a little interesting. For you snow lovers out there, the train has not yet come into the station, but I think we're in line to buy a ticket for it, because there are some signs on the models that the cold air is going to try to get locked into place for at least a few days as we go throughout the next 14 days, and that may afford us some opportunities for some precipitation other than rain that may be light. All right, that's what we're looking at right now. We'll go over it here in just a second. All right, this morning, beautiful sunrise shot there from James Guest in Jeffersonville. We had sunshine and blue skies for much of the day. Then the clouds began to come in, and you'll see there from Matt McClintock's view at Turkey Run Park, my favorite park in southeast Louisville. If you haven't been there, go out there. It's brand new. You see the clouds moving in, but it made for a beautiful sunset shot out there in southeast Jefferson County. Man, what a photographer he is. We'll be showing these tonight on the news after NFL football as well. All right, the sun has gone down. We're now looking at cloudy skies overhead from our SkyTrack camera here in Metro Louisville. Temperatures already down into the 30s. Freezing now in Shelbyville already. Frankfort at 30. I think just about all of us are going to be in the 20s tonight. So bundle up for that. Monday morning commute's going to be a cold one. I put us down to 28 here in the city for an overnight low. You'll notice the clouds moving in from the north. The blue you see there is just ground clutter. I've got the radar sensitivity kind of turned up a little bit to see any flurries that may happen as we go toward the morning hours. But for now, this is just ground clutter, nothing to worry about. All right, there's the enchilada for tomorrow morning there. We've got the lake effect snow showers coming off of Erie and portions of Lake Michigan, Superior, you name it, they got it up there. Not very heavy snow, but it's just enough that I think some of this lake fetch, and a fetch is basically the wind coming off the lake and kind of trapping some of that lake moisture there. Some of that fetch may move into the Cincinnati area and in turn affect some of our northeastern counties here in our viewing area. We'll have to see how widespread this is, but I think a few flurries are possible for some of us. A very warm Lake Michigan is to blame for some of this at the very least here. You'll see that there with an upper level disturbance moving through, kind of helping those snow showers get developed. Now as we go throughout the morning hours, a few of these try to move through Cincinnati, maybe some of our northeastern counties, and even east of Louisville as well, maybe as far south as just north of Lexington there. These are lake effect flurries. Yes, lake effect snow does happen in Kentucky. That was a Hokey weather fact, I think about a year ago. So yeah, lake effect snow can reach as far south as us, but it's never heavy, always just a couple of flurries. And the flurries that we do see tomorrow morning will not cause travel problems. I think the best risk of any dusting of snow would be up towards Cincinnati and likely stay outside of our counties. But you see there the counties that will most likely be, I don't know, maybe impacted by a flurry or two, and that would probably be from Frankfort on over to Seymour or so, and Metro Louisville would likely be out of the mix. It's a 10% chance of flurries area-wide, so just because you're in the white shade there doesn't mean you're going to see flurries. It means you've got a chance to see flurries. All right, here's a quick look at the 7-day breakdown before we plunge into more of the long term here. There's a 10% flurry chance on Monday. That would be before noon. Most of it would be. We've got temperatures on Tuesday morning that are going to rival temperatures that we saw back in March. This is going to be the coldest we've seen since then. This is the North American Mesoscale Models view at 8 a.m., and you'll see it's got 22 here in the city. I put us down to 21, and the NAM doesn't really account for much of the valley effects and some of the topography here very well, so I do think many folks will get down into the teens as we go throughout our Tuesday morning. So it's going to be definitely a cold one to wake up to as we start heading into the middle of the week. Speaking of the middle of the week, we get out of the 30s for highs and back above normal again. We should be in the lower 40s this time of year, upper 30s, depending on your exact location, but we'll be at 45 degrees for a high temperature on our Wednesday. By Thursday, we're back in the 50s, and the 50s stay with us through Saturday. This rain chance coming in as we go throughout probably the middle to late here on Friday, maybe some front-running showers. It depends on the model run you look at. The timing's still kind of nebulous on this, but nonetheless, we've got rain moving in on our Friday. There may be a rumble of thunder with this. Some models trying to dump out some instability here, but it's probably not going to be a big deal. And as it moves on through, we'll probably see a dry slot in here sometime between, I don't know, Friday night into early Saturday. And then early Saturday could see a shower, but that's about it. Sunday's another rain chance. Now, this rain chance may end as a brief, and I do mean brief, flurry, but nothing to worry about as we head throughout that time. All right, so here's the long-range stuff I promised to talk about here. The pattern is definitely coming into focus for the second week of January, and it's becoming a little interesting looking at some of the model runs here. We've seen enough data here that at least I'm comfortable with putting out at least a little bit of a teaser here on what we may see. So this is our current chill down that we've got right now. Temperatures in the 30s. They'll be like that for the next couple of days. It's kind of centered over Hudson Bay and eastward of that. This will kind of move out, and we'll see a warm-up just ahead of an area of low pressure that you see right here in Wisconsin, and that's going to give us at least, I think, another rain chance, and this is for Friday, all right? So this is the Friday system here. It drapes the front along with it. And then we go into the 13th. So after about, say, the 10th or 11th, and then we going into the 13th here, we see the cold try to lock in. This is the GFS model's idea of this. It's got a big area of low pressure here over northeast Canada, trying to lock in some of that cold flow from northern Canada and the North Pole. We'll see how that goes, but at this point, the data's looking pretty good. The GFS and the Euro model are both on board with this. And while the specifics are still murky, the timing is starting to come into line, and the degree to which we will see a cool down is coming into line. I've got us basically in the 30s as we go throughout the next week. Not this upcoming week, but the next week. You'll see that here in a second. Let's talk about the setup, though. Can we believe this? Can we believe both models are doing this? Well, this is the GFS. We can't really show you the Euro's version of this, but the GFS and the Euro are pretty close. I will say, though, that the Euro is more extreme in the indices here that we're getting ready to show you, and that would be tilted in favor for you snow lovers and people who want to see colder weather. So this is the Atlantic, or I should say the Arctic oscillation, the AO. This is basically saying, will the cold air be coming out of the north? Well, we have a kind of a high pressure sitting on the North Pole and oozing that air down into the lower latitudes where we are, and whenever you get a negative value, then yes. And right now we're at a negative value, hence why we do have the cold air moving in for us as we go throughout the next couple of days. And that value stays negative as we go throughout really up to the 13th and 14th of January. So that's pretty good for you snow lovers, of course. And for the folks who are able to look at the European model's version of this, it goes even more negative. The more negative you go, the better chance of getting cold air in here. Now, the NAO, the North Atlantic oscillation here, that basically determines whether or not the cold air can get locked over the eastern U.S. And if it's in the negative, just like the AO, then that's a good thing for snow lovers. That means that the air is going to get locked in. We need that air to lock in order to get snow going. And you'll see it's negative as we go throughout the next several days, all the way till the 14th. But it tries to go a little neutral as we go throughout the 14th. But I will say the European model, negative, and even more negative than this all the way through. The final thing I look at here is the PNA, and that is the Pacific North American pattern forecast here. And you want that to be positive. That means there's going to be a ridge over the west coast and a trough over the east coast, giving us that cold air. It's kind of a reflection of the NAO, if you will, and it's positive here. And, of course, the Euro is even more positive. So, the indices are in line. So here's the first system that tries to take advantage of these indices and the cold air coming in. This will be on Tuesday the 12th, probably early, kind of looking at some of the models. The GFS has been flip-flopping on this, but the Euro is kind of putting this in here pretty good right now. It's not going to be heavy. It's just looking like at least a few snow showers at this point. Accumulations, we can't even discuss that yet. But that blue line there is the 32-degree line, and it is south of us by a pretty good margin here, and this is the GFS model. The Euro, of course, looking pretty similar with this, so I felt comfortable putting at least a basic map out with this. Confidence meter still at the 3 because it's so far out, and the GFS has been flip-flopping a lot on this lately. We'll have to see what happens on that. All right. So here's the earliest alert outlook, kind of detailing some of these snow chances. You'll see on the 12th, we've got that snow chance in there, some snow showers possible. 13th and the 14th, we may see additional of these clipper-type systems, kind of like the one that's going to happen here on the 12th, but it may be lighter snow than that. We'll see. Either way, nothing huge here. Nothing that's going to be inches and inches, So we'll have to keep an eye on that, as well as the 17th. Some of the models try to get us out of this cold pattern, maybe a snow or rain scenario. We'll see on that. But that's what we got for you now here. Join us tonight after NFL football. We'll have the latest on that forecast for the next several days. For now, bots.